Is this the start of the pullback that we've been talking about, or just another shake off? Hey there, I'm here from Fibonacci with the daily market recap. Like, subscribe, and let's see the charts. So let's see what SPY and friends brought us in the past trading day on Thursday, August 22nd. SPY closed the day with 0.78% to the downside. Now, this area, the 553.48, is an area of a very important support. It's a Fibonacci level of support and a Fibonacci trend line support, breaking down and under, and we're heading straight to close the gap at the 545 area. Jerome Powell, will it save this pullback? But in my opinion, bulls needs to give bears to close this gap and even this gap at the 535, and then next leg up going into Q4 of 2024. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think? How the SPY and the rest of the market will react to Mr. Powell's speech tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. RSP, the equal weight ETF, with a 0.28% to the downside. 171 is the support, triple top, and we are heading back to the 168, closing this gap over here. This gap should be here, 168.64. QQQ 1.6% to the downside. Now at the 474.85 Fibonacci support, breaking down and under, downtrend continuation, pullback continuation, and we are heading to close the gap at the 465 area. We've been talking about these pullbacks in the past few days or so, and we said that we are expecting more pullbacks to come, same as we had here July 24th, same as we had August 1st, same as we had August 5. We've been talking about more pullbacks like this coming in the past, in the next few weeks or so, and here we are. This is the first one. Now we need to close this gap at the 464 and close above and stay above the upper border of the yellow zone. Otherwise, we're heading to close the gap at the 454 on the Qs. Dow Jones 0.37% to the downside. Not surprising, struggling with the downtrend line. You know this downtrend line, we've been talking about this in the past few days or so, and now the 405 area is the support. Otherwise, this gap at the 401 will get filled. IWM closed the day with 0.88% to the downside, stuck between the 216 and the 213 area, breaking below the 213.56. And this gap at the 50% retracement at the 208.80 area will get filled. All comes down to what Mr. Powell will say tomorrow. And we know that 90% chance during September, Fed is going to cut rates. 25 basis points or 50 basis points. It will cut rates. So what's going on in the market? Someone knows something? We don't. Let's wait and see. Sit on hands and wait for the market to give you the direction. For now, as we can see, in the past 5 trading days, not much of a direction in the SPY. Also on the Qs, some kind of a sideways move, consolidation, same as we had here. Are we going from this consolidation? We went down. Are we going to the same consolidation to the downside? Let's sit and wait. Bitcoin, for the time that I'm recording this video, still inside the yellow zone. The 62.130 holding strong resistance. Now the 59.600 is the support. Below it 57 to the downside. Nothing much on Bitcoin. Same goes for the Ethereum. As you can see in the past 2-3 weeks, Ethereum just moving sideways below the 2670 area. Next support is the 2425. MAGS went down today 256% to the downside. We still have 2 gaps to the upside. struggles with the upper border of the yellow zone, the 45.60 area. Now the 44.30 needs to hold, otherwise this gap at the 42.88 will get filled. SOXX, the semiconductors ETF, 3.42% to the downside, and we are back to last Thursday's prices. We've been here in these prices just last Thursday. Now this gap needs to get filled, and as we always say, more than 85% of all gaps, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and we said that we prefer the downside gaps getting filled before the upside gaps getting filled. Once this gap will get filled, the 228.30 area needs to hold the support, and then maybe then we will get the next leg up to close these two gaps to the upside. KRE went 0.3% to the upside, but as you can see, another day, another doji struggles with the upper border of the yellow zone. Nothing much for now on KRE. If you're already holding KRE, your stop should be just here at the 53.60-70 area, because below it we are heading to close the gap at the 53. Like, subscribe. Let's continue with Apple. Went down 0.8% to the downside. But look left. Where are we? Just at the same prices we saw just a few days ago on Monday, last Friday. Sideways move on Apple, struggling with the 227 area as resistance. Now the 221 area needs to hold the support. The good side on Apple, no open gaps to the downside, only this gap to the upside at the 232. Microsoft 2% to the downside, broadening formation on Microsoft, closing below the lower border of the yellow zone. Not a good sign. Bearish on all time frames on Microsoft from the FTI, and it seems like Microsoft is heading to close the 408.76 gap. Nvidia 3.7% to the downside. You know this trend line. We've been talking about it in the past few days or so, and here we are back to Monday's lows. That's it. All this 3.7% to the downside, and we are back just a few days back to the Monday's lows. Now pullback continuation, and we will see 118.78 below it. This gap needs to get filled. More than 85% of all gaps. It's not a matter of when, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Meta 0.6% to the downside, struggling with the 544 area. It was beginning of July's highs. Now also here, this high is a major area of resistance. 421, 422 area needs to hold the support. Below it, we are heading south back to the 505, but overall we are still bullish on the weekly, bullish on the daily for Meta. Is it the time to go long on Meta? Not in my opinion. Let's see how the market will react to Jerome Powell's speech and how the market will close this week. Google 1.2% to the downside, stuck between the 162.70 and the 169, the lower border of the yellow zone. I'm waiting for a close above the 169, and maybe then I will reassess if it's time to go long on Google. For now, in my opinion, not only my opinion, if you put the FT on your chart, you will get everything that you need. One click away, you get support and resistance area, buy, sell signal, and this multi-time frame table that will help you make better, smarter decisions. And as you can see, Google is struggling with the downtrend line. This downtrend started over more than 1 month ago, 1.5 months of a downtrend on Google. Amazon 2.2% to the downside. We've been talking about this doji. We've been talking about this doji off the trend line of the 618 Fibonacci retracement, the upper border of the yellow zone. We said after this doji pullback might incoming, and here we are, 2.2% to the downside, broke below the 50% area, heading south to close the gap at the 172 and then a touch at the 170.55. The 170.55 needs to hold the support before the next leg up. AMD 3.87% to the downside. What's going on with AMD? We are back to Monday's prices. We said after this doji of the 618 Fibonacci retracement, pullback will be very healthy after this bull run. Yes, it's a bull run from August 5th lows, 34% to the upside. 34 is a Fibonacci number. Where it got stuck? At the 618 Fibonacci retracement. Now, breaking below the 50% retracement, we're heading south to revisit the 146.83, the lower border of the yellow zone, as support. And then this area needs to hold the support before the next leg up. Tesla, 5.65% to the downside. Let's clean the chart a little bit. And as we can see, we got ourselves the sell signal today from the FTI, bearish on all time frames. It's not the time to go long on Tesla because Tesla first is still below this short term 1.5 months of a downtrend below the yellow zone. Now next support is the 201, bearish on all time frames on Tesla until proven otherwise. Palantir 1.9% to the downside after 3 consecutive dojis. Came a pullback, but we are still in an uptrend. Look at the FTI, bearish on the daily, bullish on the daily, bullish on the weekly, bullish on the 4 hours. 3 out of 4 time frames are bullish. We are still inside this upper uptrend, breaking below, and we are heading south to the 30.60 area, which is the stop loss if you are long on Palantir. And of course, everything here is my opinion only, based on 8 years of experience and with my little friend, the FTI. Netflix 1.17% to the downside, still holding strong, bullish. 3 out of 4 time frames holding above the 680 area. The 680 area was a very tough resistance. Now needs to hold the support, and for now in the past 3 trading days it's holding support, breaking below, and we are heading south to revisit the upper border of the yellow zone, the 663, 664 area. The good news is no gaps to the downside on Netflix. Shopify 2.4% to the downside. The upper border of this broadening formation, very tough resistance. But as you can see, we are still higher highs, higher lows on Shopify. We might get this gap at the 72 area getting filled. Let's check more support and resistance on Shopify in the past, according to the last 8 trading days. 73.40 is the next support. Below it, this gap will get filled. We are barely bullish on the daily, bullish on the weekly, but we already got ourselves bearish on the 4 hours, which means we need to manage our risk a little bit tighter, a little bit closer. SMCI 3% to the downside. SMCI is still moving sideways. Let's take the FTI. For the past 21 trading days, we are inside the yellow zone. In the past 1 week or so, stuck between the 634 and the 604. Nothing much on SMCI for now. No long and no short. Mixed signals. According to the FTI, MicroStrategy went down 5.4%, holding strong the lower border of the yellow zone, the 134 area. But as you can see, in the past two weeks, nothing much on MicroStrategy. Wherever Bitcoin goes, MicroStrategy goes, and Bitcoin does nothing, MicroStrategy does nothing as well. AVGO, Broadcom went down 2.2% to the downside, but as you can see, in the past 5, 6 trading days, nothing much on Broadcom. We have this 162 area holding support, 172 is the resistance. We got ourselves already bearish on the 65 and on the 4 hours time frame. We have a gap over here that needs to get filled, and then a touch at the 155, 156 area. The upper border of the yellow zone needs to hold the support. Eli Lilly, the only green one from all the big names. Eli Lilly, 0.23% to the upside. Eli Lilly, bullish on all time frames, but with a doji, and we still have this gap over here that needs to get filled. 224 area, 924 area is the support. Below it, 886, long continuation on Eli Lilly, and we are heading north to the 1033 and 1111. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, like, subscribe, check the links in the description below. Join me today on this amazing journey on how to become a profitable trader. Until the next video, stay safe.